Dear students, good morning. How are you? I think you and your family must be fine during this COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome to this virtual class. Today's topic is individual supply schedule and market supply schedule. We have already known demand schedule. We have already known individual demand schedule, market demand schedule. Similarly, today we will start individual supply schedule and market supply schedule. What to mean by individual supply schedule? Like individual demand schedule, individual supply schedule shows the different quantities of a commodity that a producer is prepared to sell at various prices. Suppose A is a producer. Price of the X goods and supply of the X goods. Price is 2 rupees. Supply of X goods, suppose 4 units. This is in units and this is given in rupees. 3 rupees, let it that 6 units. 4 rupees, let it that 8 units. As per the law of supply is concerned, this is called that individual supply schedule. What did I say? Individual supply schedule shows the different quantities of a commodities. A commodity, suppose X goods, X commodities. Individual supply schedule shows the different quantities of a commodity that a producer is prepared to sell or a producer is ready to sell at various prices. At various prices. Again I repeat. Individual supply schedule shows. What does it show? The different quantities of a commodities. The different quantity of a commodity. Try to understand. 4 units, 6 units, 8 units. This is the quantity of supply of X goods. Individual supply schedule shows the different quantities of a commodity. A commodity means here is the X commodities. One commodities, that is of a commodities. That a producer is ready or producer is prepared. Suppose the producer name is A. That a producer is prepared to sell the goods at various prices. What are the various prices? Rupees 2, rupees 3, rupees 4 rupees. This is called the individual supply schedule. Again I repeat, what is individual supply schedule? Individual supply schedule is a tabular statement. I added more. This is the tabular form which shows the different quantity of a commodity. You may say that quantity is in per gram article. Quantity of a commodity that a producer is prepared to sell the goods at various prices. 2, 3, 4 rupees. 2 rupees में 4 unit supply. 3 units में 6 unit supply. 4 unit में 8 unit supply. These are the total that various prices, different quantities are supplied by a producer. Producer is A. That is called that individual supply schedule. So dear students, there are more than producer, they producing the goods in the market. So let me that A is the producer. Similarly, B is also producer. B is also supply price of X goods and quantity of supply of X goods. That is in rupees and this is in units, U per units. So B producer, what does he do? Is the B producer. What does he do? B producer is doing 2 rupees. Suppose he will supply that 5 units. 3 rupees he will supply that 8 units. And 4 rupees he will supply that 10 units. Similarly, if there is that C producer, price of the X goods and quantity of supply of X goods, this is in units, this is in rupees. 2 rupees, let be that 6 units. 3 rupees, let be that 9 units. And 4 rupees, let be that 12 units. This is price of the C producer. So suppose in a market there are the 3 producers, and these 3 producers are supply the different quantity of supply of the goods at the different level of the prices. So if I draw the diagram, suppose this is that OX axis represents the quantity of supply of X goods, and OY axis, this is the price. Price is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, or goods is like this 4, 8, 12 and 16. So that means 2 rupees 4 units, 3 rupees 6 units, and 4 rupees 8 units. This is that SS age supply. And B supply को similarly OX axis represents the quantity of supply of X goods, and OY axis represents the price of X goods. This is the price of X goods. So similarly, this is that 4, 8, 12 and 16. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 like this. 2 rupees 5 units. 3 rupees 8 units. 4 rupees 10 units. This is that SS supply curve, that is B's supply curve. Similarly, C's supply curve, OX axis quantity of supply of X goods, O axis price of X goods. Here is that 4, 8, 12, 16 like this, and price is 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, and 5. So in C's case 2, 6. 3, 9 and 4 12. This is the siege supply. This is the individual supply schedule, individual supply curve, individual beach supply schedule, individual beach supply curve, individual siege supply schedule, individual siege supply curve. Next, market supply schedule. What is that market supply schedule? Market supply schedule gives the same information about the whole market of a given commodity. In other words, market supply schedule is the combination of all the individual supply schedules. All the individual supply schedules. Suppose if the market there are the three producer, three supply schedules, that if we will combine together, then we will get the market supply schedule. So that is why market supply schedule is the combination of all the individual supply schedule in the market or in the given market. So I will draw here the market supply schedule. Market supply schedule. It means market supply schedules. Price of X goods, age, quantity of supply of X goods in unit, how much, price 2, quantity of supply 4, price 3, quantity of supply is 6, price 4, quantity of supply is 8. Similarly, B's quantity of supply of X goods, 2 rupees 5 units, 3 rupees 8 units, 4 rupees 10 units. These are the units. These are the units, and this is the given in rupees. Similarly, in C case, C is quantity supply of X goods, 2 rupees 6 units, 3 rupees 9 units, 4 rupees 12 units. What did I say? Market supply schedule is the combination of all the individual supply schedule in the market. Suppose in a market there are the three individuals suppliers. So that will that A plus B plus C equal to, call that market supply. Is the market supply schedule. It means A plus B at the rupees of 2. It means 4 plus 5 plus 6 equal to 6, 5, 11, 4, 15 market supply. 3 rupees case, 6 plus 8 plus 9, 9, 8, 17, 17, 6, 23. And in case of the 4 rupees, 8 plus 10 plus 12, 12, 10, 22 plus 8 equal to 30. This is called the market supply schedule. So this is to be known as the market supply schedule. So what is the market supply schedule? Market supply schedule is the combination of all the individual supply schedules. If there are the three individuals producer, so if we will add all these three individual producer, S individual producer, B producer and C producer, 4 plus 5 plus 6 equal to 15 market supply. 6 plus 8 at the rate of 3 rupees, 6 plus 8 plus 9 equal to 23 units in the market supply. And 4 rupees case mein the market supply will be 8 plus 10 plus 12 equal to 30 units with that market supply. So this is called the market supply schedule. Similarly, we can draw the market supply curve. In case of market supply curve, see, this is the OX axis and this is the OY axis. Y axis represents at the units of supply of X goods, and OY axis represents the price of X goods. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, and 5. And similarly, is that 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and 32, and 36 units. See, in case of 2 rupees, how much unit the market supply? 15. So 2 rupees, 15 units. 3 rupees, 23 units. 4 rupees, 30 units. When we join this line, A point, B point and C point, this SS or SM is to be known as market supply curve. Market supply curve. So SM is the market supply curve. Individual supply schedule, individual supply curve. Individual supply curve is individual supply SC and it is the market supply curve. If there are the 3 individual supplier in the market, then this is to be called the market supply curve. And this is the example of or hypothetical market supply schedule, individual supply schedule and hypothetical market supply schedule. As per that hypothetical market schedule, individual supply schedule, hypothetical individual supply curve, hypothetical B's individual supply curve, hypothetical C's individual supply curve, and as it is that hypothetical market supply schedule. So this is to be called the hypothetical market supply curve. So now here, dear students, you are clear about the hypothetical individual schedule for commodity X. I have discussed only that X commodities. If it may be the Y commodity, Z commodity, so many commodities in the market. So accordingly, the different producers, they will prepare that different supply X for the different price of the goods. So this is to be called the hypothetical supply schedule and hypothetical market supply schedule and individual supply schedule and hypothetical market supply schedule curve and individual supply curve. So last period I was discussing why does supply curve move upwards? Why does supply curve move upwards? A supply curve move upwards, B supply curve also move upward, C supply curve move upwards and market supply curve also slope that upwards. Why that supply curve move upwards? Last period I was telling that first point was that law of diminishing marginal productivity. The question may indirectly come, what is the reason behind it the supply curve move upwards? Or why there is the direct relationship between price and quantity of supply? Or why does law of supply operate? Or why does that supply curve upward from left to right? Question now gets clear. Any type of question may come. Why does supply curve move upward? Why that law of supply operates? Or why there is a direct relationship between price of the goods and the supply of a goods. There will be the different type of questions. So whatever may the question, your answer will be first the law of diminishing marginal productivity. First point, law of diminishing marginal productivity. Law of diminishing marginal productivity. First point, reasons. Why does supply curve move upwards from left to right? First point is the law of diminishing marginality. I have already known the what is law of variable proportions, and I have discussed that the three stages: increasing returns to factors, diminishing returns to factors, and negative returns to factors. Here the marginal productivity, I have also discussed what do you mean the marginal productivity. So that productivity when diminishes, that is to be called the law of diminishing marginal productivity. It means the law states that more and more units of a variable factor are employed, the additional made to the total production decreases or total production falls. When the producer will employ more and more variable factor in the process of the productions, there are some fixed factors employed, the additional made to the total product, will decrease. That is to be called that law of diminishing marginal productivity. Dear students, if you are unknown about the law of diminishing marginal productivity, please go through that contents. What I was sent to you, law of diminishing returns or law of variable proportion, or different three stages: increasing returns to factor, diminishing returns to factors, and negative returns to factors. Causes of the increasing returns to factors, causes of the diminishing returns to factors, and causes of the negative returns to factors. So you must be clear from that points. Thus, if we will employ that more and more variable factor, that time we are employing the labor is the variable factor, all factors are constant. There is some fixed factor and there are some variable factors. So with regard to this analysis, law of diminishing returns to factors, that whenever a producer will employ that more and more variable factor, that is labor employed, what will the consequence? The additional made of the total product will decrease or will fall. That is, the cost of production rises. Thus, more quantities supply only, higher the prices so as to cover the rise in that cost of productions. That is why law of supply curve move upwards from left to right, or supply curve as per the law of supply curve move upwards from left to right. Next is that change in stock. Second point is that change in stock. Change in stock means there is that one formula, that is closing stock minus opening stock. Change in stock, that you will know in that macroeconomics. So with the increase in the price of the commodity, sellers are ready to sell more from their old stocks of goods. On the other hand, when price of the commodity decreases, seller would like to increase their stock to avoid the losses. Clear my point? Change in the stock means, suppose in the market the price is increasing day by day. When the price increases, to get that more and more profit, the producer or seller, what they will do? They will bring their goods from their stock to sell in the market to earn that more and more profit. That is called the change in stock. Change in stock means increase in stock or decrease in stock. Increase in stock when it occurs? When the price rises, increase in the stock. What is the stock? That stocks goods will come to the market to sell in the market and earn that more and profits. Similarly, if the price decreases, the producer will not sell the goods in the market. What are the goods are to be produced by the producer? They will store in the godown. That time the market supply will decrease, but the stock of that goods will be increased. Third point, we may say that profit and loss. Third point, profit and loss. Profit and loss. From this change in stock, you must be clear. As the price rises, the producer will earn that more and more profits, so that he will increase the stock. When the price in the market decreases, he will suffer the loss. That is why the stock will be decreased. The supply will be decreased. So that is that profit and loss. Due to that more and more profit, the producer will sell that more and more goods when the price rises. When there is the loss, at that time the producer will sell that less and less goods. That is to be suffered to the loss. If you will sell that goods at the less prices, you will suffer the loss. That is the profit and loss. And next one, that was also point, why does demand curve slope downwards from left to right? Entry and exit of the firms. Entry and exit of the customers. I was given the example, suppose that apple kg is 100 rupees. How many consumers they come to purchase the market? If that apple kg will be that rupees 40, that more people will come to the market rather than less people will come in that market to purchase that at the 100 rupees. So when price reduces, consumers will purchase more and more. That is in case of the demand curve slope downwards from left to right. When price decreases, demand increases, price increases, demand decreases. That is the inverse relations. But here is the entry or exit of the firms. Entry or exit of the firms. It means every businessman aims to earn that maximum profits. Nobody wants to earn that loss. So when there is the profit, when the producer will sell that more and more goods at the higher prices. When the producer will sell more and more goods at the higher prices. So whenever the producer will sell that goods more at that higher prices, they will earn that profit, or that profit is to be called that supernormal profit or that abnormal profits. During that case, new firms will enter to the market because they will start their productions and they will sell that goods in the market at the higher prices so that they can earn these profits. That is why entry of that firms. Similarly, if there is the price will be less, at that time the producer will suffer that loss, so he will never sell that more and more goods at the less prices. So during that period, as the firms will suffer that loss, that time the firm will be exited from the markets. That is why it is to be called the entry or exit of the firms. So these are the causes due to that the supply curve moves upward from left to right. The supply curve moves upward from left to right. The causes are law of diminishing marginal productivity, change in stock, profit and loss, entry or exit of the firms. These four causes are the reason or the causes for that supply curve move upwards, or the question may come, why does law of supply operate, or why there is a direct relationship between price of a goods and supply of the goods, or why does supply curve move upward from left to right. This may be that one question. So today's topic we have already finished. Now conclusion: individual supply schedule and market supply schedule. What is individual supply schedule? Individual supply schedule is a tabular statement which shows the different quantities or of a goods are supplied by a producer whenever he is ready or he is prepared to sell that goods at the various prices. So if there are the three producers in the market and the total supply of these three producers is to be called that market supply, and if it is that tabular statement which shows that at 2 rupees how much quantities are supplied, 3 rupees how much quantities are supplied, 4 rupees how much quantities are supplied, which I have given the hypothetical examples, that is called that market supply schedule. And that is why market supply schedule is a tabular statement which shows the all the combination of the individual producer in the market. That means in the market how much units are supplied at that various prices are to be known as that market supply schedule. When this is represented in a graphical form, if individual schedule is represented in the graphical form, this is called that individual supply curve. If market supply schedule is represented in the graphical form, it is called that market supply curve. And above all, what we observe that supply curve move upwards because there is a direct relationship in between the price of a goods and that quantity supply of a goods. So that supply curve move upwards, and causes of the supply curve is that origins that law of diminishing marginal productivity, change in stock, profit and loss, and period exit of the firms. Today's topic is over. Thanks to you, and you will do your homework. That should be prepared as a note and with that clearly explanation in your own word. Don't depend on the book. First go through the books, clearly understand, then you write your own words, whatever made the mistake. Thanks to all of you.